Hey, YouTube. So I was thinking in my head, right, as you always do. But I was thinking, right, um, and I thought it would be a good idea to make a video off of, because I got a really good title for it. I'm not about to give y'all the secret sauce. I'm gonna just let y'all see the title and understand that this is a so it's a good YouTube title. But um, so yeah, and I had to throw a. This is a really disgusting sweater right now because I need to be washing clothes. Actually, I haven't washed clothes in like 3 weeks, and I only have like two pairs of pants left before I actually like legitimately have to wash clothes. Um, I always procrastinate when I wash clothes, and really in general, but especially when I wash clothes because not the laundromat, but where like where the washers and dryers are. I kind of have to run into people, and I hate running into people. Not see, because when I say that, people are gonna assume that I hate people, and I don't hate people. I hate running into them because it's like it's more so because people, whenever you cross paths with someone, right? At least to my understanding, people always feel the need to say hi to you, right? And that's what really annoys me. Because, fam, if I could be by my lonely and walk and not say a word to you, and you can do the same, I'll be friends with you off rip, right? Because you know that I don't want to say hi. Like, I'll be looking at my phone as I'm walking down, right? But then somebody will, like, come close to me and be like, hey, what's up, dude? Or not, they won't say dude, they'll say what they say. I go to a black school. I'll give you context. And they'll say what they say, and then I gotta like respond like, "Yo, what's up?" Sometimes I gotta dap them up if there's someone that I know, right? And it's like I don't really care if I know you or not. If I'm looking down at my phone, that should already give you a signal that I do not want to speak with you. I don't want to speak with anyone, right? They always feel the need to say hi, and then I always gotta say hi back. It's not really a long conversation to begin with, but the fact that I have to make it a conversation kind of annoys me already. Okay, enough with that. But I just needed to get that, excuse me. I just needed to make that clear that I do not hate people. I hate the idea of conversing with people. Unless I want to. Then it's a different story. That's just me being selfish. Anyways, so what I was originally thinking about, the whole idea that I want to make this video off of, is so everybody in the school, I think I said it before, is from Philly. The school is real cheap. Let me not. I'm not trying to downplay. It's just the school is really cheap, and it's kind of close to Philly. So everybody chooses this school over like because there's a couple schools closer, like Westchester. Westchester is really expensive. Howard is decently expensive. Um, what's another one that's close? I think these are the closest schools nearby though. Um, I mean, and then if you're going to schools directly in Philly, UPenn number one is an Ivy League. That's extremely hard to get into, and then if you get into it with financial aid, you're still paying 25 grand, right? Drexel with financial aid, you're paying 34 grand, right? Like nobody wants to go to school in Philly, but people from Philly will go to schools here because it's cheap. So, anyways, everybody at the school is from Philly, predominantly like West and North Philly, the two bad parts of Philly, right? And so that being said, all the men here, you know, they're kind of hard with it, right? Like they'll make it known that they will like they'll throw hands if it needs to happen, right? Although it's really interesting because I haven't seen a fight break out yet, but they'll make it known that they will, you know, they'll throw it down if they have to, right? Which I believe is cap. Like it's all words. Like it's all bark no bite. But at the same time, I'm not gonna bark because it might be bite, and then if it's bite, I'm gonna get you feel me like I can't fight myself, so it's no bite coming from my end. See, the thing is, I got my dad's mouth, so that's not necessarily a good thing. um, like, if need be, I will talk myself, right? I will bark myself, right? With that being said, my dad, he's shown me time and again that he actually can fight, right? Like I've seen him box with someone else a couple times. I can't get into it, but I've seen it happen. Me, on the other hand, I'm very sensitive. I can bark. Don't get me wrong. I could we could jibber jab all day. But if it comes to fists, you might win that one. Then I might you feel me? I might like back up a little bit. So that's where it kind of gets, that's where the disconnect is, right? So what I'm trying to get at is, like I said, I'm sensitive. And excuse me. Um I'm going to say this not in a sexist way. I'm saying this because I just genuinely believe this. I think I'm sensitive due to the fact of how I was raised. I've said it plenty times before. I was raised by all women. My grandmother, my mother, my mom, and my two sisters. So that's four women. I mean, I would hang out with my grandfather every now and then, but I moved from Jersey to PA when I was 6. So I really only had 6 years with my grandfather. And even then, we didn't really hang out, like that much, I guess. Um, I mean, it's just like, he's my grandfather, right? He's not like my father, right? So it's not yeah, he taught me plenty of things. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, you know, like it's still kind of a disconnect, right? So I was raised by really four women, and it's kind of like, generally speaking, women are more sensitive than men. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing because you see it, like, for example, Jungle Book, right? You see how what was his name? Baby Tarzan. What was his name? Mowgli, whatever his name was. Mowgli got raised up by all bears or whatever. He got raised by all animals, and then he became an animal himself, right? Bro was walking on all fours. I'm not gonna say I got raised up by all women, so now I'm a woman. I'm not a woman. I got raised up by all women, so now I'm kind of on the sensitive side of the spectrum. And to be honest with you, I think I would prefer this way rather than to be raised up by like my dad, my uncle, and my two brothers, right? Like, it's really interesting because my mom's side of the family is like the complete opposite than my dad's side of the family. Like, my mom's side of the family is predominantly women. My dad's side of the family is predominantly men, you know? And my mom's side of the family is all suburbs. My dad's side of the family is all hood. Like, even still to this day. Like, my father straight lives in Irvington, right? Like, a lot of my family, they moved to like Union, they moved to like the suburb side of like Union County. But even still, like, they were raised in North, so like they still got that rough side in them. Even my auntie, which is super interesting. But anyways, that is not the point of the story. The point of the story, or the point of the video, is that I'm still kind of sensitive, you know. And I think, like I said, I think it was best for me to be raised by my mom's side of the family rather than my dad's, because there's some cons, or not cons. There's some pros that kind of go what's the word? Is it unswept? That's not the word. They're kind of unknown, but there's definitely some pros that come with being raised by all women. So, like I said, I'm like Mowgli, and all the women in my life are kind of like, what was the bear's name in Jungle Book? My grandfather, Baloo. That was the yeah. There's a funny reason as to why I know that, but I'm not about to say it. So yeah, like, all the women in my life are like multiple Baloos. Meanwhile, I'm like the Mowgli, but I'm like the sensitive Mowgli. I'm not walking on all fours. Meanwhile, I'm like, I know how to interact with. It's a shame. It's a shame a little bit because I know how to interact with women better than I do men, especially if the men. Because, for example, like I said, I go to a school. Everybody's from Philly. The women in this school, they're still kind of sensitive, but at the same time, there's a lot of them that are rougher than me. Like, one of the I saw, a fight almost broke out with these two women, and it almost got to the point where, like, I see these fights. Sometimes I be watching like street fights on YouTube to to kind of understand, if I was ever in a situation where I needed to, throw fists, this is how I would do it, right? But every now and then in the street fight compilation that you see on YouTube, they'll show like the girls fight, and like these girls like they pull out each other's hair and stuff, and it's like, fam, like y'all are doing a lot. You feel me? Like that's kind of, you know. But I almost saw one happen on campus. One that almost happened on campus, right? And it was over a man, right? And they were throwing expletives. They were saying a whole bunch of things, right? And then the one girl was like, "Okay, so what you want to do then? So what you want to do with it? What you want to do with it?" Said word. She was like, "So what you want to do with it, right?" And the thing is, like, this girl, she's like, she's like real thin in the leg department, but like you get up to the torso, and she's like stacked, like she kind of like stacked, right? Like she got like muscle. Like I bet she's like the one in the gym that always be doing uh her what are these called, the biceps. I think these are the triceps and these are the biceps. So yeah, I'm sure she does like her biceps every day. So she was the one saying, "Yo, so what you want to do with it then? So what you want to do with it, sweetheart?" She didn't say sweetheart. She said something else, but I'm saying sweetheart to kind of, kind of lighten the mood. And so once she was shaking her head and saying what she said, then the other girl was like, "Okay, well, I didn't want it like that. I didn't want it like that. But if it did break out in those," she said something like, "Well, if you," she was basically saying, "Well, if we were to fight, you know that I'd drop you in a second or something like that." And so they were really just, it was a lot of bark, but nobody ever really threw hands. But it was like it's crazy to even see that, right? Like I've only seen really two fights really happen in my um excluding the one that I was actually in, but I've only ever seen two fights really happen in like a school area, and it's crazy because I've never seen people talk that much before actually really throwing hands. And the two fights that I saw were it was men that were fighting. Usually they would say like two things and then they would just swing at it, right? And it wasn't, and nobody would really connect with punches. Like they would throw like two punches and then it would just be like, they would just start wrestling. Like it would just be a bear hug and then just toss each other on the floor. Like it was never really like fisticuffs, right? But this is not what the video's about. The video's about the pros of being raised by women, right? So like I said, I kind of know how to manage a conversation better with women than I do men. Um, except if I actually have a romantic interest with the woman, then I kind of fold completely. But if it's like I'm like a friend or whatever, like there's a couple of these girls in my computer science, or at least last semester, there was a couple girls in the computer science class that I was cool with, and even now there's like two girls that I'm cool with in my chemistry class, and like we be kicking it, like it's completely dope, you know. Except they be talking about things that I just don't care about, and it's like, okay, fam, now I gotta go get lunch or whatever. Okay, that's disrespectful. But when it's men, especially when they're from Philly, it's like they be talking about things that it's like, fam, really? Like, what are y'all talking like? Because it's usually either about weed or it's about like they be talking about like lean or whatever. Like people really drink lean here. They're not here, but I guess they be doing that at parties or whatever. Um, that's crazy because like I only hear that in like the rap that you hear on the radio and such. Like that's crazy that they really be doing that. But I mean, I guess people here are really adults, so they do whatever they got to do in their life, right? Um, and then they be talking about all the girls on campus or whatever, and that's like, okay, fam, whatever, do what you got to do. I'm gonna go do my homework. I'm really not doing my homework. I just be watching Malcolm in the Middle. Yo, Malcolm in the Middle. I gotta make a revised list of my top five sitcoms because Malcolm in the Middle might be King of Queens, and then what's it called? Might be Everybody Loves Raymond. I have two sitcoms that might take out the other places. So I am way like I'm everywhere with these videos like all the time. Um anyways, so I think like I said, one of the pros is that you know how to manage a conversation with a woman better than you do a man. Unless, like I said, I have a romantic interest, then it's like I fold completely as I do all the time. Another another pro is that you kind of are just generally more friendly. Um but except it's with teachers. It's not with other students. Because again, I don't talk to students like that. But when it's with teachers, I do it to an extent to where I'm not the teacher's pet. Because there's a thin line between being the teacher's pet, then to being like the teacher's friend, but just friendly enough to where they give you advantages, right? Like I don't talk to them every day. I barely talk to them. But when I do talk to them, I'll be throwing a couple jokes here and there, and they'll be laughing. They'll be like, "You really are a good kid. I always knew you had potential from the jump." And I'll be like, "Of course you did. Everybody did. You know what it is, right?" And so I say that because I think I said in another video. So last semester I had calculus, um, and the teacher was super cool. Everybody didn't like him, unfortunately, because he had a really thick accent and he wasn't like a really good teacher per se. But I really like math, so I mean I kind of understood what he was saying even through the thick accent. And so since nobody really liked him, I felt like I had to compensate for it. And so I was like, I kind of would throw some jokes here and there, right? And then every test, like I knew that I got some stuff wrong in the test, but he gave me full credit just because I understood the concept. So I think I ended the class with like a 102 because he would even give me like extra credit, for things that, it was like, hey, I'm cool with it, right? And, even with my English teacher now, she's cool because she knows that like a lot of people, like, they be like, it's like a lot of quantity over quality with their papers. Like they'll just write a lot of garbage to where it reaches like the 5 page limit or like the 7 page limit, but they're not really writing about nothing. Meanwhile, I'll be doing like maybe four, maybe sometimes I'll reach the 5 page limit, and she'll take it, which I'm really I'm glad about it. Um, Unfortunately, I don't be getting like straight hundreds on my papers. Hey, but I did get a 97 on that last paper. So hey, professor, if you see this video, which I know you won't, thank you. You're a real one. um, Man, this video already reached 17 minutes. I want to go over like two more pros, but then it's gonna reach 20 minutes. I don't even know if I want to watch this back. Um, I think the last pro that I guess I'll talk about is a um so it's I guess it's more so a thing more relative to my age though. So I'm in my friend group. I'm like the sensitive one. They know me as a sensitive one. I mean, it's not like I be crying all the time, but it's like, like when they be talking, like my friends will be talking about, I don't know, their girlfriends or whatever in the past, or like just the friends that they have now that are women, right? And I'll be like the type to like really play devil's advocate, because they'll be talking about whatever the girl's doing, um, or like how the girl like played them or whatever, and I'll play devil's advocate, and so they'll be annoyed at that. But the thing is, cause I'm kind of like young or whatever, and cause I'm kind of like known to be the sensitive one, they'll like kind of take me in as like I'm like the little bro, right? Which is really dope. At first I kind of hated it, cause like I hated the fact that people would think that they're like so much older than me, right? But I mean at the same time, everybody is like 2 years older than me or more. But now like from like hindsight, now that I'm looking at it through a more clear lens, like, it's really cool because like I mean nobody really makes fun of me here at college, but in the first semester, like I said, when people were really like so high and mighty about being 19 when I was 16, some people would make fun of me, like even my roommate. But what's funny? So my original roommate, he did one semester and now he's gone. I don't know what he got kicked out for. I think they caught him with I don't know, maybe like a um they caught him with like rolling papers or something. I don't know. But I mean that's karma, I guess. Anyways, but yeah, now when someone tries to like I don't know, they might like maybe even like if it's even like joking, when I'm with my friends, they'll stand up for me. I'm really happy about that. My friends, if you watch this, which I know you won't because I'll never tell you my YouTube channel because I know y'all will laugh at me. But if somehow I do, I really thank y'all. Y'all real ones as well. Um, but I think, there's like I said, there's a lot of pros for being raised by women. Although I will be honest, sometimes sometimes I be wondering, like, yo, what happened? What would have happened had I been raised up by all the men in my life, right? Because you know, sometimes I feel like I actually know how to fight if I was raised. Because my pops, my cousins, because yeah, all my cousins on my dad's side are like men as well, right? Like my cousin, he moved here to Philly as well, and like he boxes now. Like he really do be it's not like, it's like underground though. It's not like he's an really, he's not an MMA fighter or anything. He doesn't do like UFC, but like, he be doing like the underground Philly joints. Um, I think it's really dope. And he said that he would teach me how to box, which is like really dope. I figure like had I actually like lived with my pops and them like years ago, I would actually know how to box now. But so since I'm like I got some weight on me, right? I feel like if I were to ever box, maybe I would throw like I don't know, throw a haymaker, one or two, and then really I'd just be bear hugging as well. Because the thing is, my wrestle game is kind of nice, just off the strength that I got. I'm about 200 pounds, right? 200 pounds of some change. So if I'm able to wrestle you and then I just can sit on top of you, I feel like I win, right? But let me not explain all my wrestle techniques because if I were to ever get into a fight and they see this video, they might know how to beat me. So let me not give out all the secret sauce. But um, I don't know. I felt like it was a good idea to make a video of being raised by all women. See, because the thing is, the title of the video is I can't tell y'all the title, but y'all will see if you watch the video. I got a good idea for the title. All right, but that's about it. Man, this video is 22 minutes long. But I thought it was a dope video to make, so that's all I got. Um, all right, yeah, later.